Welcome to our Sunday meditation again. The energy has been kind of expected as we're entering into the end of this time that we're in, the end of an age. And so it's pretty easy to get very upset, even angry, certainly disturbed. So that's why we meet together on Sunday, to come together and tune into the higher ethers, as they say. Let's meditate to a couple of songs just to wash out the energy of the week and to prepare ourselves for our time together today. So we're just going to meditate to one or two songs. I'll see here. So we'll go here. Good. Take a breath. As you might notice, if you look really close, I'm celebrating the time at home by attempting my annual mustache growing contest, which usually ends up in a great deal of humility and embarrassment. But I'm still working on it, so that's a good thing. We'll see how it works out. What else are you going to do when you're sitting around the house wearing a mask all day, you know, when you go out, you know, but everything's temporary. Everything is transitory. I'm here to remind you today that everything is transitory. As I've been kind of harping here for a while on what I have seen for the future, is I've seen that we've got about, started about a month ago, we've got about 6 more months of craziness where people are just fighting each other, not listening to the other side, not taking time to be empathetic about anyone that doesn't share their point of view of their world. And this creates basically a hell world. That's what hell worlds are made of division. One of the things that we're looking at as we're kind of exploring the world of Taoism, as we look at the Tao, there are certain things that we need to keep in mind. Taoism, number one, is not a religion. It's a philosophy. It's a way of approaching life. But it does have some basic premises. The basic premise of the Tao is that there's just one spirit, one essence. And that essence comes out of nothingness. It takes the form of things, and then those things are dissolved and taken back into the nothingness. So everything here is transitory, but everything here comes from one, and you are connected with all of creation. You're connected with, you know, each other, with the gods and the goddesses. You're connected to the plants. You're connected to the earth. And as I said, we're connected to each other. And there's this thing in us that wants to belong. We want to belong to a group. And usually when you want to belong to a group, that means that you have to make somebody outside of your group so that you have a kind of an exclusive group here, not like that group. We're here, we're not like them. And the Tao says not to do that. There is just one essence. This is the truth. This is the truth in Buddhism. It's actually, if you get down to the basics of all religions, they actually come down to just one spirit, of which everything else is connected. In the beginning was the void. It was nothing. It was a void. But there was a movement upon the void. And that movement brought forth an emanation which said, "Let there be light." And there was light. It manifested. We now have light and darkness, duality. And from those two things, light and darkness, something and nothing, everything happens. You are everything that you can think of, and you're also everything that you're not. I am me. I am what I am. I am also what I am not. I am not, at least in this consciousness, I am not this glass. This is something that I'm not. The fluid in this glass is something that I'm not. However, when I take a drink, that I was not is now me again. But I am everything that I am and everything that I am not. That's how my ego is defining my place in this earth, my place in this incarnation. I'm always trying to figure out what I am and what I am not. And what I am not is always expanding because life expands. When I was a little boy, raised in New Mexico, I was raised in a little oil field town called Eunice, New Mexico. And in my first grade year, last half of my first grade year, we moved to a little town called Cloudcroft. I'd never been past Cloudcroft. I've been up in the mountains deer hunting with my dad and our family as a child, but never been further than Mayhill. None of these things mean anything to you, little villages in New Mexico in the mountains. But I digress. My dad had a 1950 GMC pickup, baby blue, 6-windowed thing, and it had a rack in the back of the pickup. And so generally, when we would travel, since there was me and my 2 brothers and my mother, unless it was really cold or rainy or something, us kids would ride in the back. We'd have something to sit on, a cushion or something, and we'd ride in the back. And I remember the first time that we went to visit Las Cruces, New Mexico. And to get from Cloudcroft to Las Cruces, you go down this 10-mile hill to Alamogordo. You go across the basin there, you pass White Sands, and then you go up over the Oregon Pass. I had never been past Cloudcroft, so all of this was new to me. And then when we went up over the Oregon Pass, as I was topping out this hill, and I was looking out, I stood up on the back of the pickup. I was hanging on to the bar there that they had, and hanging onto that and looking. And as we passed up, I was looking as far as I could see because I had been told in school that there was an ocean to the west of us. So it was up here, and I was looking as hard as I could to see if I could see the Pacific Ocean from New Mexico. But what was before me was the beautiful Mesilla Valley, the Rio Grande Valley. And it was something I'd never seen before in this life. Now, why I'm saying this is that my world was always expanding. It went from my little neighborhood in Eunice to, various places we would travel to. And everywhere we went somewhere, I would apprehend that place, and it would become part of me, become part of my memories and my experiences. And this was always growing. So we're always expanding out. And the more we expand, the more we find out about the world we're in. And the more we find out about the world we're in, the more we developed this egoic thing that says, I am this and I am not that. I am this person, but I'm not that person. So the ego is always trying to defend itself. It's always trying to figure out who it is and who it's not, what it is, what it's not. And throughout this whole experience of life, the ego is basically in charge of your view of reality. Now, your view of reality is your experience of what's out there. I think some people call it suchness or isness, the things that are there. When we topped up over, when that little truck topped up over the Oregon Pass, and I looked down, couldn't see the Pacific Ocean, but I did see a valley that I never knew was there in this life. I didn't create that Rio Grande Valley. I didn't create the mountains. I didn't create any of that. It was already there and had been there for millions of years. But I was experiencing a new, fresh experience of it from a very limited point of view. I had very little that I could think about what I am and what I'm not if I hadn't been there yet. So it was like I was in this bubble that was always blowing, going out. And as I've grown older in my life, I have traveled around the world. I've been to Hungary and Peru, and all really nice places. What a fun life. Those places were there before I went. I did not create them. I created my experience of them. And my experience of them was very limited because of my limited nature. I didn't create that tree in my yard out here. I did not create that tree. It was there when I moved here. It was there before I even moved, before I even knew it was there. And yet I have an experience of that tree that's, a pretty good experience. We have a lot of conversations. I'm kind of weird. But what I'm suggesting is that your ego, its job is to figure out your way through life. And its job is to help you in this life to navigate through this immensity of creation that we could never experience at all in any given life. You can never visit every little village on this earth throughout your in one life. It's just not possible. It's impossible to really take in another culture completely. I guess you could if you move there and immerse yourself into that culture and learn the language and learn the religions and learn the history and interacted with the people, learn to cook and eat their food, then that would incorporate into your world. But most of us just go and visit. We see a few temples, take a few, hikes around, eat the food, and we leave with our own point of view. And everybody has a different point of view. Recently, my students and I went to India with Ganganath and Tara. What a wonderful, amazing thing. Every one of us had a different experience. There were some of the students that had an amazing experience in one temple and went to another and didn't have much, whereas other students have an amazing experience at that temple. It was like everybody was taking what they were available to get from that experience and internalizing it and making it their reality. So I did not know what was over the top of the Oregon Pass as we came to the top of that mountain. I'd never seen or experienced it before in this life, that is. Never seen it before. It could have just as easily been the end of the earth. Could have walked up over there and looked, ooh, there's a dark hole there or something. But no, there was this valley. There were these mountains in the distance. There were all of these things that had been there for millions of years, some of them. And yet for me, it was my very first experience of it. So what I'm suggesting is that your experience of life is yours, and it comes from your own limited abilities to experience the fullness of all the dimensions, all the things that are there, to fully comprehend what it would be like to be in, I don't know, let's say Las Cruces, New Mexico, and be able to speak Spanish to the people that are there, as opposed to not being able to speak Spanish to the Hispanic community. It's a big difference. We don't really create the physical world. It's there. I don't have to create mountains or rivers or oceans. What I can create is my experience of them. And depending upon how I was raised or where I came from or my religious backgrounds, political backgrounds, or whatever, my education, I am bringing all kinds of biases and filters into this experience that allows me to integrate what I have not ever experienced before into my past and my reality. So, excuse Puggy snoring. I've given up. Anyway, oh my. Yeah. So in the Tao, we realize that everything is one. There's just one infinite being, Alpha, the Omega, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. It is incomprehensible and yet comprehensible to a degree. What we focus on as we're looking at life, we put our, it goes through our filters of what we're thinking at the time, of what we're capable of apprehending. If you were raised in a family that believed that you were raised in the Hatfields in Arkansas, you're a Hatfield, and there are the McCoys across the way, and you guys have trouble, so you're having a feud. You're killing each other's every opportunity. Now, how can this be? You're sharing the same land, the same language, probably the same religion. How is it that one family can just completely demonize the other to the point that it's perfectly okay to kill them? And that's done with people who look alike, who have the same culture, who have everything. How can this be? And that's because we have not been taught to live. We've been taught to survive, but not really to live, to get along, until enlightenment happens. One of the first things I tell my students is that what you touch touches you. This is my phone here. If I touch it, it touches me. And at the point of that touching, we've come together. What you focus on, you tend to experience, and not just what you focus on, but how you focus on it. So this is where we're getting down to today's message. Finally, after all of that, is that watch what you're focusing on and how you're focusing on it. Now, as an American Buddhist, I'm also a Christian. Not like a regular Christian, I suppose, but I really try to be Christ-like. And let's talk about the proper way to focus. St. Paul wrote to the Philippian church, 4th chapter. He says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. Think on these things. What are you thinking on and how are you approaching it? We get caught up in today's news. The talking heads get on and they just rail and rant about how the other side is so heartless. It's so interesting to me that as I have listened to various commentators rail about the other side, talk about how heartless they are, how stupid they are, how mean, uncaring they are. And the only thing difference between either side is that one side says the other ones are Democrats, or the other side says the other ones are Republicans. They're saying the same thing about each other. It's the Hatfields and the McCoys. It's not really nothing to fight about, but we'll figure out something to fight about. We'll figure out something to make you wrong so I can be right. This is against the Tao. This is against the flow of life. The flow of life is perfect. We're the ones that create the problems. We're the ones that make the judgments about something being cruel or terrible or horrible. We focus on the negative. We focus on what television is giving us, what the social media is showing us. We're accepting the fact that when we do a search on social media that everybody is getting the same message. Well, they're not. Everybody's getting a different message. Okay. Go with me here now. Don't go away. There you go. Even though we're different, even though our lives are completely different, we have each other. And how I deal with you, how I judge you, how I treat you, how I dismiss you, or maybe how I include you, is an expression of my soul. It is my job to take care of what I do. We make a gesture. I come up to a person and I smile and I say, "Hi, so good to meet you." Put my hand out. This is before COVID. But I say, put my hand out. They have a choice, and that's my gesture. I look at my gesture. It's happy, it's free, it's inclusive, it's kind of sharing of energy. Hi. The other person's having a bad day. Maybe they just walked in on their spouse cheating on somebody, cheating with somebody. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe their child is dying. I don't know. They have another reality that I'm not. Hi, how are you? And they look at me. They don't know me. They may not like the way I'm dressed. They certainly may object to my mustache. They get lots of things. They may not shake my hand back. They might slap it away. They might turn their back and walk away in a huff. They might spit on my hand, slap my face. That's their gesture. That has nothing at all to do with me. The only thing that has to do with me is what was my gesture in the first place? Was it done cleanly? Was it done honestly? Was it done with love? Their gesture is their gesture. I can't control their gesture. I'm not in their reality. So we make a gesture. That's the only thing that counts for us. How other people react about it, how they maybe throw stones at us or put us up on their shoulders and march us around cheering. It doesn't matter. What matters is your gesture. How did you approach this? Are you approaching life happily and fully? Are you looking for whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are pure? Are you looking for the goodness in others? Or are you just focusing on, YouTube searches and social media searches on how terrible the other side is in political stance, or how horrible America is going right now, or how terrible it's going in, I don't know, Kenya? What are you looking at? What are you touching? And how is that affecting you? And if that affects you, how is that affecting your gesture to others? If you're getting so angry at TV, at the Republicans or at the Democrats or at the, I don't care, choose your poison. If you get angry about that and you start spewing that out, then you have become part of the problem. The gesture you are making toward life and toward others is not healthy or right. You need to change. You need to learn to love. You need to learn to forgive. You need to learn to realize that you're only seeing life from a certain point of view and that you don't see it all. You're just coming up over that Oregon Pass and you don't know what's in front of you. You're looking for something that's not there, the ocean. But what you do see there is something that's always been there, an amazing valley, a beautiful valley. I didn't create the valley, but I created my experience of that valley. I don't create you, but I create my experience of you. This is the core teaching. What are you creating? What you're focusing on, you're becoming. What you touch touches you. Are you continually touching angry things? Are you continually touching ideas and concepts that, oh my God, we're all going to hell in a handbasket and it's going to be a terrible experience and we're going to run short of food and nobody's going to have a job and all this. Are you going to touch that? Or are you going to live in the moment and see right now that things are fine? There's not, let me tell you something. There's not a single problem that we're facing that if we all work together, we can't overcome. We have the technology, we have the knowledge. All we have to do is work together. But we're so busy keeping other people apart from us, separating ourselves from them, not talking to them, not having any kinds of communication with anybody other than people who are just like us, that our world becomes very small and our gestures to each other become very limited. And we're missing the lesson that this time is teaching us. A lesson that says it's time to become compassionate, to start looking for the good, to start supporting each other, to start caring. It's love that binds us together. It's love that binds everything together. This is a creation of love. Your life springs forth from love. Your body temple takes care of you every day. No matter how much you abuse it, it does its best because it loves you. It's easy for me over the years. I've been tormented and hassled, ostracized, cheated on, abandoned, rejected, fired. Yeah, I've had those experiences. And they've all allowed me to grow, to find love in areas that not too many people find love, to forgive endlessly, to love unconditionally, to be of service to others. Because if I hold back from you, I'm holding back from the oneness of God. I'm holding back from myself. What I say about you, what I do to you, how I judge you is how I am. Love everyone as yourself because they are you. Your worst enemy, the most horrible person on the planet, is part of God. It's part of you. Everything is one. Everything is light. The darkness is the illusion. Separated from the light. But it comes from light. I think I just lost everybody because I lost myself. So focus on the right. Focus on good things. Be of service. Do what you can to help those that need help. Wow. Life is really short. That skinny little 7-year-old boy standing up in the back of that pickup holding on to the metal railings they had around it to hold, kind of like a roll bar for the car, but it was attached to the bed. We had to sit and hold on to that, looking out that pickup. Almost 70 years ago. Yesterday. The lifetime is winding down. The incarnation is speeding by. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I found my teacher. And I'm lucky that I chose enlightenment. And I recommend you do that also. We're coming into a new age. What's ahead of us, a little over 6-7 months away, is a new world, a happy world. It's a world where you can find enlightenment. So we'll just tough it out these next few months. We'll continue with our meditations, our little reading of the Tao. But more than that, as a group, we're looking forward to the experience of enlightenment in this world. Looking forward to your own enlightenment, where that greater part of you melds completely with the environment, and you recognize the oneness of everything. So I don't know if you made any sense out of this one today or not, but don't get yourself stuck on these emotional issues. Don't buy in to the fact that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, and that we'll never recover from this Supreme Court justice, or we'll never recover from this president, or we'll never forget all of that. Whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are true, what's just, and you find what's just, what's pure, what's lovely. Is that a good report? Is there any praise? This is what we should think about. What you touch touches you. As you put your attention in this area, you will become that. You'll become pure. You'll become honest. You'll become good report. You'll become all of that stuff. Or you can focus on horrible things and become that. You're at choice. And I'm here to try to help you and encourage you to make the right choice. Why? Because you're me. Why wouldn't I want you to make the right choice? Doing my best. I can't control you. But maybe I can encourage you to take the higher road, to take a road of compassion and empathy, to take the road of love and peace. In a world that doesn't understand it or feel it, but you can. It's your world. It's your reality. Nobody shares it but you. None of you were with me when I was 7 years old, riding the back of that pickup, coming up over this mountain and looking ahead at lands I'd never laid my eyes on before. Every day is like that. Every day I'm looking at things I've not seen before. They're always there, but ooh, I didn't realize that. How amazing, how magical. Incredibly magical. I don't know how long we're going to be away from each other. I believe that this epidemic that we're having here is a direct result of the toxic environment that people have bought into for the last 40, 50 years. Where we've had people in government and in social and even in religions that quit caring about the poor, quit caring about the hungry. They just quit caring. Became very warlike. And look where it got us. We can change. We can change, each one of us. We have 6 months before things really start clearing up. But we can go the 6 months together, meditating together, meeting together once a week like this. You can, contact me, set up a personal session with you. I'd be happy to do that if you need it. Might as well take advantage of it. I won't be around forever here in this body. But I'm not leaving anytime soon. At least I don't think so. And I'm rambling now. Take heart, my friends. We are eternal. We cannot be killed. We'll just keep taking on these lives. And each lifetime we'll explore more of this infinite reality, of the isness of the infinite, the suchness of all things. What fun. What an adventure. Good luck. Namaste.